Hey everybody, Happy New Year's to you. We live in an instant culture. We want change and we want it to happen fast. We get upset if we click on a web page and it takes longer than a second to load. When we start a diet, we want that diet to have guaranteed instant results within a month. But this desire for fast change is really dangerous when we bring it into our spiritual lives. 1 Timothy chapter 4, verse 7 and 8 tells us to train yourself for godliness. For while bodily training is of some value, godliness is of value in every way, as it holds promise both for the present life and for the life to come. Notice, we're told not to pursue instant results. We're told to train ourselves for godliness. What's in view here is an athlete training himself to get better day in and day out at their craft. What the Bible shows us again and again is that there are no graduates from the school of faith. Growing in our faith and growing in our ability to practice our faith and live for the glory of God, that's not something that happens fast. It's something we need to train ourselves to do over time. And those training practices often don't happen in really flashy ways. It's not we just get zapped with a new ability and all of a sudden we just see exponential growth. No, how we train ourselves is how an athlete trains themselves. It's just putting in the work consistently in non-flashy ways over time to see results, not instantly, but results that can only take place by putting in work over a length of time. I think about the Karate Kid. The Karate Kid wanted to do really cool karate moves, but what did his teacher tell him to do? He told him to buff a car. He told him to sand a deck. And the kid got really upset because he's like, hey, I'm not learning all this karate. What's going on? But what was happening was through doing those repeated body motions again and again and again, a foundation was being laid for all the karate moves that he was going to need to learn. Training ourselves in godliness is a similar type of thing. It's not about doing these big flashy things. It's about doing the same consistent things over and over and over again so that we can see maybe not instant results, but we can see long-lasting results as we train ourselves in godliness for the glory of God. And so the Bible often talks about training ourselves by reading the Bible, training ourselves by growing in prayer, training ourselves by having fellowship, sharing life with other Christians, training ourselves by listening to the preaching of God's word in our local church, training ourselves by sharing our faith with our friends and families, telling other people about Jesus. These aren't really flashy things. These are pretty basic things. And yet it's doing these simple basic things consistently over time that can lead us to grow in godliness in ways that are extraordinary. And so what I'm going to be doing over the next few weeks on our church's website is doing weekly blog posts that I'm calling New Year's resolutions worth making. And we're just going to look at different godly habits we can get in that will help us grow in training ourselves for godliness. And you might not see instant results as you do these things. You might need to see results in a few days, in a few weeks, even a few months. But if we do these things consistently over time, things like learn how to really read our Bibles every day, things like learn how to have prayer systems to really pray in consistent ways throughout the day, ways that we can learn to share our faith, like simple, basic things. If we can learn to do this over time, these ordinary Christian practices, friends, these are what can lead us to experiencing extraordinary growth in our godliness as we train ourselves to do these things that God has given us to do as means of His grace. And so as you come into 2021, don't just think about the instant results that you want. Think about ways that you want to grow in honoring God. And then think about the steps that you can take. Not these big, huge steps, but the short, simple, small, ordinary steps that you can begin to take to begin to change, not instantly, but change yourself over time. Put in the work in 2021. Growing in your relationship with Jesus is always worth the work.